Well, hello again and welcome to the wonderful world of amateur radio with VK6CS. Now, I was at the HARGfest, the Hills Amateur Radio Group Festival, last week or the week before, and I finally found out what the famous HARG burgers are famous for. As I'm a member of HARG, and it's probably good if they continue selling the burgers, I'll stop there. Right. Whilst there, I picked up one of these UNUNs. Now, what is an un? I hear you cry. Well, it's unbalanced to unbalanced. You know, balun is balanced to unbalanced. Un is unbalanced to unbalanced. So just like amateur radio operators, you can have baluns that are, you can have matching devices that are balanced or completely unbalanced. You see what I mean? I couldn't manage a cackle, sorry about that. So anyway, this is another thing that's quite nicely packaged. I bought this up at the HARGfest. I think it was a similar sort of price. I think it was $65 for the show special. You get some rather nice nice quality banana plugs with it, because what we do is we connect the end of our coax to this, we put a plug in here, banana plug goes in there to the ground, earth stake, and then the other banana plug goes in one of these, depending on the impedance of your wire antenna. So 16 to 1, so 16 times 50, that's 800 ohms, 9 to 1, 450 ohms, 9 times 50, and 4 to 1, 200 ohms. Okay, so if you've got a wire antenna and you don't have a matching unit, what you can do is you have your coax going in here, going off to ground, and then you would stick your wire antenna in those individually into these sockets and see which one had the loudest noise on the band that you were interested in using, because that would be the best match you were going to get with this device on that band, on that antenna. Now, what some people do is they will measure the impedance of their antenna with an antenna analyzer, and just supposing it's 700 ohms, and they'll go, oh, okay, all right. So they'll have this at the antenna feed point, and they'll plug that into the 800 ohm port, and then have the coax going back to the house, and then have something like just a little tuner there, something like that, just to nip it in, just to nip that impedance in. So most of the impedance conversion is done at the antenna feed point, and that makes it more efficient, less lossy, rather than having such a significant impedance mismatch addressed back next to the transmitter in the house. Okay, so just for fun, now I haven't done this before, you just saw me unwrap it, I just thought I'd see how this looks on the antenna analyzer at the impedances it specifies. Now what I'll do is I'll just give it a resistive load at these values, and we'll have a look at it on the antenna analyzer and see how it looks. Okay, so there we have our good quality banana plugs. I've got some fairly long fly leads. I don't quite know how that's going to affect it, but we'll find out very shortly. So if I plug that in there, cool, that is a tight fit. Cool. That is not going to be coming out in a rush. I'll be very surprised if you get any moisture in there. Well, Mr. Emtron. Oh, yeah. Right, okay. So what I've done there, now across there I should have, I should be able to put 800 ohms, because remember this is the 16 to 1 tap point. I should be able to put 800 ohms and get an SWR of 1 there with the antenna analyzer. So let's just see if we can do that. Get a pot, get the meter, As I say in almost every video, this is amateur radio, just bear with me. I'm just connecting this to the pot, the meter to the pot. Oh, and a couple of banana leads. Now I don't know what, as I say, I'll move the banana leads around just to see what effect they have on the reading I get on the antenna analyzer. Now where did my pot go? Oh, there it is. It's because I've got the camera between me and the device. I'll go on there, and I'll adjust that. I'll adjust that for 800 ohms. Oh, come on. Oh. Put it on the right range might help. So what's that? That's 235 ohms. I want 0.8. Six. Riveting stuff, this, isn't it? I can see why amateur radio is so popular. Okay. Well, the alternative is get on with the bloody gardening. So. There we go. I used to live in a flat up in the north of the state, and never ever had any gardening to do. Right. Okay, that's 801 ohms. I wonder if I can get it to. Oops. Should have left it at 801, shouldn't I? Yeah. Okay. Well, that's going to do. That's going to have to do. That's about, well, that is 800 ohms. Fantastic. So. Okay, because I want to unclip the other end. And apply my 800 ohms. I'm never ever gonna take the mickey out of Blue Peter again. I wonder if that program's still going. Okay, now applied my 800 ohms across my UNUN. Now the lead, as is before, you know, usual standard of prep work. But I like to show it how it is. You know, you got all these glossy presentations, and people put hours into editing videos and all this sort of stuff. But you know, when you actually come to do it, this is what happens. Right. We'll connect the other end of that. To the UKITs. FG01. Okay, let's fire it up and see what we get. That's the first time I've done this. So it's telling me my SWR is 1.2 to 1 and my impedance is 37 ohms. Okay, so here's the position of the pot affecting that very much. 1.3 and 36 ohms, so it doesn't really make a great deal of difference, the fact that I've got these fairly, you know, foot-long fly leads on there. Okay, so at 7.093, so I'm 40 meters, the 16 to 1 is giving me at my coax there, it's giving me 36 ohms, and an SWR 1.3 to 1. Okay, well let's just take a look at 20 meters. Doesn't like that quite so much, does it? So on 20 meters, well, focus on that. Focus, go on. You can do it. On 20 meters, that's showing me I've got a 2.3 to 1 SWR at 25 ohms. So, okay. All right. Well. It's certainly bringing the impedance down. I'll certainly be able to tweak that in with the ATU. So still a lot of the work would be done at the feed point. It's not very flat though, is it? And I would suspect that the windings are not spot on for giving me the exact impedance conversion there. Okay. So what else have we got here? 21 megs. Doesn't like 21 megs at all. Look at that. 3.6 and 63 ohms. And 28 megs, 5.2 and 130 ohms. So yeah, I would say that the response of this is fairly limited. If you were to actually do a graph of that, that wouldn't look very nice at all. So we've got an SWR of 5 there, and an impedance of 127 ohms. Of course, the higher we go in frequency, the more effect this is going to have on it. But remember that it's for connecting to a wire antenna. So this will go to earth, this will go to random length of wire. Let's move the pot around again just to see how much effect that has. And over there, yeah. I mean, it's made a fairly it's made a bit of difference there, but the huge difference remains. I mean, I would expect that to be a bit better than that, to be honest. I mean, 122 ohms, 4.8 to 1. That's at 28.5. So, yeah. Don't know how useful this would be really. On 10 megs, how does that look? 1.6 and 29 ohms. 40 meters, 37 ohms, 1.3 to 1. That's better. It likes 80 meters. That's what I expected to see, but I expected to see that as I went up through the bands. So that's 1.1 to 1, and the impedance there is 47 ohms. And when I'm looking at there, you can probably see the figures down here. So there's the impedance. There's 47 ohms there, and there's the SWR. There's the center frequency, 3.6 megahertz. So if I go down to 1.8, it's 1.7 and 47. So yeah, 1.1, 47 for 3.6, 1.3 and 37 for 40 meters, 1.6 and 29 ohms. For 20 meters, 14.2, 2.1, 26. Yeah, there you go. So it's not terribly flat. Okay, well, let's just see how it looks if I change that to 450 ohms. There's a meter. Pardon me. So that's 750 ohms. Hang on a second. I did change that. I did tweak that pot, didn't I? After I did the test. Let's do a very quick. Let's get that back to 800 ohms. And just double check that. I don't want to be giving you a bum steer, as the Americans say. It's always important to have your backside pointing in the correct direction. Okay. There we go. And so 2.2, 24 ohms. 28, still 5, 127. No, that's the same. That is looking exactly the same. So 7.093, 37 ohms, 1.3, 1.1, oh, and 50. So it was slightly off. So where I said it was 47, it was actually 50. There's a couple of ohms in it. So that's 1.1 and 50 on 80 meters. So that's fine. That's exactly what I expect to see. 1.8 and 50. That's on top band. 160 meters. 10 megs, 1.6 and 28. 14.2 megs, 20 meters, 2.2 and 24. 21 megs, 3.5 and 60. 24.9. Don't know why I've got that in the memory. I guess that must be a band. 4.3 and 83. 28.5 is SWR of 5. Impedance is 127. So it's very, very similar to what I had before. I must have nudged that pot. But as you can see, I've redone the readings, and it still doesn't look overly flash to me, to be perfectly honest. Okay. I'll just readjust that pot. For 450 ohms. Oops, can't see it, can you? Okay, 451, close enough. I was thinking of getting one of those air-operated hooters, you know, you see on bicycles, and clowns use them from time to time, just to keep you awake when I'm doing some of this. Okay, little boots come off the crock clip, so I'm just going to have to stick my finger in the jaws of the crock clip. Up the rubber boot back on, there we go. Does it actually be better with the rubber boots off, I think, because they're actually harder to clip on. Right, so how does it look now? So I've got to put the peg in the right position. Okay, so this is the 450 ohm position. And how does it look? Okay, well on 40 meters it's telling me SWR is 1 to 1 and the impedance is 44 ohms. On 10 megs it's 1.2, 37 ohms. On 20 meters it's 1.5 and 30 ohms. I'm starting to wander out a bit there. 21, 2.2 and 47. 24, 2.6 and 60. 28, 3.2 and 80. So if we go down to the lower frequencies again, so 3.6 is 1.2 and 50, so you know, it's okay on 80 meters. 1.8 and 48, that's on top band, 160. Some people will say SWR less than 2 is acceptable, but I'd like it to be a bit lower than that personally, especially with a solid state PA. Well, they're quite good these days. So 3.6 is 1.2 at 50, 1.2 at 50 there. 7093, 1, 44, so you can use it on 40 meters. So use it on top band, 40 meters. 80 meters without too much bother. And yeah, even on 20 meters you'd probably get away with that. I'd like to see that impedance being a bit higher personally. Solid state PAs do like 50 ohms. So you're still going to need a tuner at the shack end just to give that bit of a tweak in, I think. 21, 24, 2.6 and 60. 10 meters. Well, where have we gone? 10 meters is 3.2 and 80. Again, it's usable and you could tweak it in. See what it will do. Although the impedance transformation is not very flat across the HF spectrum, it will shift 450 ohms and 800 ohms into a range that can be accommodated by most little ATUs. So it would it would still be useful in that you're getting most of your impedance transformation done at the antenna